Hey everybody, this month's focus is strength. So I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about 4 huge muscles in the body and how they function and what exercises or practices we can do to strengthen them. Because if the big muscles of the body are not strong and capable, all the little detailed coordinated muscles can be as strong as we want, and we can be as coordinated as we want, but we will still have a hard time being relaxed and moving with great function and great ease. Okay, so today let's just talk about 4 of the huge muscles of the body. Okay, the first 2 are in the upper body, specifically in the shoulder. Okay. The first one is the pectoralis major. This is your chest muscle, and it attaches your arm across to your chest. And so it attaches here at the top of your arm, and it comes across, and then it attaches on your sternum, on your chest bone. And so its function is to pull your arm close to your chest, like this. And so the single greatest exercise we can do for the chest muscle, this big, powerful muscle, is push-ups. And when you do push-ups, as in this month's class, you want to keep your elbows away from your body, because this will move your arm in what is called adduction, where your arm comes toward your chest. Okay. This will use this big, powerful muscle. Whereas it's very common, especially in yoga, that we instruct to keep the elbows close to the body when you do a chaturanga or a push-up like motion. But you'll notice that when you keep the elbows close to the body and you do a push-up like motion, this is a different action in the shoulder. This is called flexion. So this uses a very different set of muscles than this does. Okay. When you keep the elbows close to the body, this actually uses the front of your shoulder cap muscle called your deltoid, and it also uses the top of your bicep, which is why it's relatively common, if you do a ton of chaturangas, it's relatively common to strain your bicep attachment up here in your shoulder. Okay, so this month's class definitely has planks and push-ups. Those will strengthen your big chest muscle called the pectoralis major. The other huge muscle of the upper body is on the back side of the arm. It's called your latissimus dorsi. It connects the back of your arm, and it goes down your back, and it fans out, and it connects to your lower spine and down onto your pelvis. Okay. So this muscle pulls the arms down like this. It basically, if you think of it as pulling the arm toward your lower spine and toward your lower back. Okay. So this is one of the biggest muscles in the human body. The single greatest exercise to strengthen this muscle is pull-ups. And so if you have a pull-up bar, we recommend, hold on to that pull-up bar and do pull-ups, because you'll see this is precisely the action that strengthens the latissimus. And this is an evolutionary thing where we come from apes who hung in trees all the time and would always be holding their body weight up on their arms. So strengthening this muscle actually helps the health of the whole shoulder and neck tremendously. So do pull-ups if you can. The single greatest yoga posture for the lats, the latissimus dorsi, is palm stand, where you sit on your butt and you lift your butt up. And you'll notice that you push the arms down like this. So they push down and in. So that is the latissimus dorsi. The third huge muscle I want to talk about is in the leg. The last 2 are actually both in the leg. One is your gluteus maximus. This is your butt muscle. Okay, it is a big, big muscle on the back of your hip, and it connects your leg bone, the outside of your leg bone here, and it goes up across the back of your hip and connects on the base of your spine and your pelvis back here. So your butt muscle goes across the back of your hip, and its function is to, we call it extend the hip, but it's to straighten the hip. So it takes the hip from a bent position into a straight position. If you try that and you straighten your hip really strongly, you'll feel that your butt muscle engages. The greatest exercises and postures for the glutes are anything that flexes the hip, but then uses the leg to push down, right? Because that is going to extend the hip with force. Great postures for this are chair postures, because you'll notice the glutes have to engage to push the legs down. In this month's class, we do squatting, which is basically chair posture in movement, where you sit all the way down and stand back up. That uses the glutes. And then you can also do it on one leg, which is the lunging exercises, right? Where you step back and you kneel down and then you stand back up, which is basically a squat on one leg. Those are all very good for the glutes, your butt muscle. Okay. Most of us in this culture have really weak glutes because we don't do a lot of those activities, and we sit on our butts all day long, and we don't use them. And the fourth muscle, the fourth huge muscle that we're going to talk about today is your quadriceps. And they are on the front of your thigh, and their main action is to straighten the knee or extend the knee. And most of your quadriceps, there are several of them, but most of them attach up here on your thigh bone, and they cross the knee and they attach to the front of your shin. So when you do quadricep exercises, you think, pull the front of my shin up toward my thigh, and that will strengthen the quadriceps. Now, the quadriceps and the glutes like to work together, okay? And this is a very, very functional thing that the body does, where, like, if you notice, anytime you run or walk or jump, your quadriceps straighten the knee at the same time as your glutes straighten the hip. So these two actions really like to work together. And so if you want to strengthen these muscles, it really helps to do both of them together, which is why squatting motions and lunging motions are really, really good for both building strength and for integrating the hip and the knee. So squatting motions, like we just said, are like this, where you're going to then straighten the hip and the knee at the same time. You do that strongly. And a lunging motion is you just do it on one leg. You straighten the hip and the knee at the same time. So those are the four big muscles that we just want to highlight for you all. Don't be afraid of being strong. I know that in the yoga world we don't talk about strength that often, but if we neglect the big muscles of the body, how do you expect to move the body? And if you neglect strength in the joints, how do you expect the joints to move? How do you expect them to be relaxed? How do you expect the joints to be functional? So we really encourage both strength and flexibility, that you build the two of those things together. So that's enough for today. We'll see you guys soon.